I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Supervisor Fair?
Here.
Councilman Barber?
Here.
Councilman Carter?
Here.
Councilman Telosky is absent. Councilman Barron?
Yep.
Okay, welcome everyone. Motion to accept minutes from the December 20th, 2023 regular town board meeting and the January 10th, 2024 organizational meeting.
I'll go ahead and put that motion into place for the accept the minutes from the December 20th, 23 regular town board meeting and our January 10th, 24 organizational meeting.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, you all have the monthly financial report. I think I reported this at the organizational meeting, but the interest we earned on the money market last year was $89,768.27.
Beautiful.
Okay, persons addressing the board. Brookfield, concerning battery storage. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I had reached out and made communication initially with Deb in regards to Brookfield has an interest in negotiating with the town on, it's roughly a 7.2 acre parcel on 374, leasing it for battery storage facility. So it's not acres and acres of solar panels, the facility primarily backs up the existing substation, so in the event that it should go offline for either weather or maintenance, the battery storage facility picks up and also helps solidify the grid. In the beginning of not to dig too much into technicals, but the lease is structured so that at the beginning, it's called like the due diligence period, where Brookfield is going through their internal studies, their internal permits, applications, interconnect applications, etc., in which the town receives payment per acre leased annually. And then if it goes into production, the town then receives payment per acre that's gone into production that's been constructed on for the facility. That lease stays in place if everything goes well from beginning to end. You know, the initial portion is 2 + 4 years, depending on how long it takes to get through the remote activities. And then once it goes into production, the lease is for 35 years, I believe, is this lease, yeah, 30 years. But it does give the town an increasing passive income, because once it goes into production, then there's a 1% escalator attached to the payments. It doesn't create a noise pollution. They're safe in communities, neighborhoods, etc. So I'm going to turn it over to Virgindra, who is going to give you a little bit more information about Brookfield, and then I'm going to be the point of contact for negotiations, etc., terms, conditions. And he's here to give you some backstory on who Brookfield is.
Thank you, Nicole. So just a quick introduction. My name is Vijayendra Mani, go by VJ as well, and I work as a storage developer at Brookfield Renewables. So I've been with Brookfield for the last 4 years, and on behalf of Brookfield, like Nicole mentioned, we'd like to express interest in leasing the land adjacent to the Lion Mountain substation, where we'd like to develop the battery storage project. So it's going to be a roughly 50 megawatts battery storage system. So just to visualize, they're going to look like 60 shipping containers roughly. So that's what high level the structure will look like. And it'll be around 10 to 20 acres based on what's available and what's usable. So just brief background on Brookfield. So Brookfield, and I've shared the presentation with you, is a global infrastructure developer, owner, operator. So Brookfield owns renewable energy assets, real estate, infrastructure assets like highways, airports, and we've been in business for over 100 years, operate in 5 continents, have about $70 billion of assets, specifically in the renewable energy industry that we own and operate, and employ about 4,000 employees, roughly 8,000 facilities that Brookfield owns in the country. And out of that, there's about, just to give you a reference in size, 8 gigawatts of assets across hydro, solar, batteries that we're proposing to build. There's wind as well. We're one of the largest wind and solar asset owners and are looking to grow in the energy storage space. So, you know, as the whole industry is moving towards renewable energies, you know, at some point over the next decade, there's going to be plans to transition the entire grid to renewable energy, and energy storage is going to be a critical asset to, you know, it pairs perfectly with solar and wind, where during times when solar and wind assets aren't operating, you can use your battery just like your phone, you know, where you're using the battery when your generating assets aren't operating, and then when the generating assets are operating, you charge your batteries. And same thing with pricing as well. Like, you're able to charge the battery when, like, your solar and wind is running at its highest energy output, and the power prices usually are the lowest because, you know, there's no fuel that goes into it. And you're going to discharge batteries when, you know, in events like when there's snow and there's no solar or there's no wind, that's when your batteries would step in. And just based on how the economics work is the prices of batteries are decreasing, so it's going to be cheaper to build a battery than it is to operate any thermal facility. So that's the business case. And just to give a background on Brookfield, I'm on page 5 in New York State. We're headquartered in New York City, have over 200 employees, operate 75 plus assets within the state, have 700 megawatts of capacity. You can see the map of all the hydro that we operate. So we're very active in the upstate region, very active with the local communities that we do business in, and have, you know, use local vendor network for employing and operating our assets. So on page 6, you can see some images of what a battery storage system would look like. You know, there's no moving pieces, so it's just going to be sitting and connected to the grid, charging and discharging, usually charging at nights and then discharging, let's say, for 4 hours during the day, and fairly silent. There's very minimal upkeep. You don't have operators on site. You know, it's all hands off, remotely monitored and operated. So yeah, very very hands off. They're just going to be sitting like shipping containers essentially.
So is that, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I apologize for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it looks like, are those a 40-foot shipping container or a 20-foot shipping container?
I'd say those are like 40-foot
40
shipping
footers? Okay.
containers. Yeah, like the bigger ones.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And you build a fence around, you have that.
Exactly. Yeah, there's going to be fences, and you're going to have like side access. It's going to be clearly we're going to build roads to access if there already aren't.
Mhm.
And you know, this is something Brookfield, we have in-house capabilities. We go right from like the origination stage all the way through construction and operations. So it's not that we're going to build this and sell it to someone else. We're going to be the asset owners for the entire lifetime of owners of the entire lifetime of the asset, essentially.
So as far as security goes with the fences, is it gonna be cameraed too?
Yeah, there's going to be security systems, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And yeah,
And they're monitored 24/7.
exactly. There's going to be.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, we can talk more about it as well. So if you now jump to page 8, you know, just to spend a minute on how batteries work, is it's the same technology that's in your cell phones and your laptops. So lithium-ion based batteries, and they're gonna be, there's the cells that are in like the racks, the white boxes that you see. So there's just the cells, the same cells that you have in your cell phones are essentially all compiled and placed in the racks. And then there's inverters which convert the DC energy to AC energy. And then that inverters then like connect to transformers, which then connects to the grid.
I do have a question there too.
Absolutely.
So when you said that the batteries is like your,
Mhm.
your cell phone or your computer, laptop.
Exactly.
So actually I had a laptop battery that went to a hot state.
Mm-hmm.
What prevents them from going to a red hot state and then,
Yeah. So
because I used to work also on Nova Bus, and when those batteries go to a hot state,
Mhm.
there's no medium that puts them out. They just burn until they burn out.
Correct, yeah. So it's the same technology, so from a technology standpoint, it's gonna be the same, but then the difference is like these batteries are gonna have like very high-tech remote monitoring, so before it gets to that state, we're gonna be able to remotely shut them off and like remotely monitor each cell, and like we also have like cooling units that are within the racks. So they're hardware, but then it's also software on top, which, you know, gives it the brain to know like, okay, you know, which it's going to be remotely monitored. You're going to have like just the way the technology is designed, like before it gets to that hot state, they're going to turn off, allow it to cool. You're going to have the cooling systems that ensure, you know, that manage the temperature, stay within like the appropriate, the way it's designed to operate at, essentially.
And
And if
then,
it does like catch fire in like extreme cases, yes, you're right. Like you're gonna have to run them out and like let them completely discharge of all the energy that it's holding on to.
okay, and then will our local fire departments or EMS receive any training when these get fully installed?
Absolutely, yeah. So you know we're still.
Yep.
Oh, no, absolutely.
In regards to the town training, yes, there is. However, studies also show that because these are an enclosed unit, fire safety personnel do not engage with, if there's a breach of
No,
safety. Like if
Yeah.
there should be a fire, nobody's going to fight it, you let it burn out. And some of the other questions that are coming into the top of my head that other governmental entities have asked is air quality issues if there's a fire. In which the studies have shown that within 24 hours, there's no traceable amounts, and even post the event, it was minute amounts that weren't of health concern. So in the event that something should go wrong, you know, like Rajendra had already touched on, they have temperature cooling, they have remote shut off, but in the event that all of that fails, it just burns out on itself in its contained unit. So there, while we can provide and do provide additional training to save or to volunteer resources, the expectation is that they should not have to engage.
I mean, it's good for us. Granted, I need to ask the question for. just in
Bring your
case.
marshmallows.
Well, you know, people go by and they'll see smoke, and what's the first thing they're gonna call? They're gonna call the fire department.
Right, right.
Yep.
Yep, so that training does come with in and around the
He's
time
fire
frame
chief
of
in that,
Absolutely.
of construction. Yeah, but generally speaking, there's no engagement.
Okay.
This isn't like a solar field where you have one panel and it can spread. These are all contained units. And it would just burn out on its own.
But then once that takes place, that red hot state takes place, goes down, then you're automatically gonna send the maintenance crew up to do a replacement and all that stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, Brookfield, we're gonna have O&M crew, operations and maintenance, and like, we're gonna have a full plan for operations and maintenance. And then these cells, they also, after a few years, they get retrofitted, so, you know, if the capacity decreases or, you know, they're very modular, so you can remove the damaged, say,
Okay.
cells and then
Good.
put in new cells.
How often does it happen?
It's very rare, like, you know, it's going to be extremely rare. Like these batteries, you know, they're present like across the entire, you know, technical infrastructure, you know, right from our cell phones, cars these days to like, you know, vehicles, EV vehicles, plus like it's the same technology that also goes in batteries. So one piece I'll say is like, yeah, during like the first 3 to 4 years of the development term, like that's when, you know, right now we're at the extremely early stage. We're gonna come and present like very comprehensive designs and plans for the project that we're gonna be building. So we're gonna like work with fire safety consultants and experts in-house to present these comprehensive plans where, you know, we could talk about like, you know, trainings for the local fire department, like equipping them with any infrastructure that needs to be, that they do not currently have like policies, protocols, if a fire does happen, what are the correct response procedures, and you know, just go more into detail around the compliance with the UL codes, the NFPA National Fire Safety Plans. So those are going to be presented, you know, across the next 3 years. You know, I'll keep coming back with the broader Brookfield team and present like the plans, the entry points, exit points, you know, on site if there's any fire suppression, like any fire hydrant that, you know, or water hydrants that need to be built and so on, like storage units, like we're gonna cover all of those
Okay, good.
during the development term.
Have you, do you have other facilities like this in the Adirondack Park?
Not in this region, but then we do have some, like, you know, across the river and in like the New England region. And you know, if someone wants to do a site visit, I don't think they're too far from here. We'd be happy to schedule those. Yes, yeah.
So one of the main reasons why our location was picked because our close tie-in to the grid that's already on the
Yeah, so
on
there's
the wind
your,
turbines.
yeah, so that substation, there's a proximity to the substation, so you know that makes it easy to connect into the electrical grid. And then plus overall, like this region is going to be a active region for renewable energy development. Like we see a lot of solar farms that are going to be built in and around like this whole region. And then, you know, Plattsburgh also has some major like population centers, you know, so you want to keep batteries near these population centers. And there's an existing facility there that's you know, pretty sizable, and yeah, just a whole mix of factors that we've looked into.
Good.
Will 60 units take up the whole 7 acres?
Yeah, and then there's also going to be like ancillary electrical equipment, like the inverters, transformers, that, and like a smaller substation that we call it, that's going to tie into like the bigger substation. So yeah, you can see on page 11, you know, there's the fire safety, just high level practices and you know, items that we're going to take into concern. So there's, like I mentioned, they're going to be remotely monitored 24/7. We're going to have a Brookfield point of contact that you guys have, your fire department has access to. There's you know, pre-installation standards and testing. So like I mentioned, they're going to be UL certified. Whatever the state and national fire safety codes are, they're going to be compliant to those. And like if, yeah, and also Brookfield's codes, which, you know, usually are, we try to make them higher than what the national requirements are. And there's going to be temperature management systems, so each cell will be monitored remotely. That you're going to have fans, ventilations, heating equipment, sensors that monitor. Like these are very intelligent assets essentially. So all the cells work you know, in coordination with one another. Yeah, you're going to have fire suppression equipment. We're going to build response plans, working with, you know, your fire departments. We're going to bring in experts to put those. It's going to be a very customized response plan that we're going to put together. We'll have regular maintenances, audits. You know, have community outreach programs so the local community is aware about the system that's being installed, and, you know, help address any questions that they may have. So, any additional questions you may have?
The Brookfield rep, will he be like in a close proximity to the
Exactly.
area. He
Yeah,
will
so
be,
we
or should
have
be,
like,
whatever.
yeah, we usually have regional managers, so you can see like we have, a bunch of hydroasts along the river as well. So usually we have a team that oversees a group of assets, and they, go from one asset to another and do the routine inspections, maintenances, and
Very good.
yeah, we call them a
Interesting.
portfolio manager here.
Great.
Mhm.
I did read the documentation that you had sent me originally. I went through that. Very impressive. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yep, and, yep, we're just trying to be good neighbors and
Yeah, well, look forward to future contact. What's the next step?
So, the next steps would be to determine if the board agrees that it's the best direction for the town to proceed. And then I would supply you with the current lease draft to have an attorney review it and give feedback.
Okay,
Then it goes back and forth, and because the parcel is slightly smaller and we'd be leasing the whole thing, we
mhm,
wouldn't necessarily have to negotiate site location or access. And then, once the terms are agreed on, it signs.
okay. All right, well, we'll discuss it further and
Perfect, and you've got my contact
I
information if
absolutely
you.
do. Yep,
Perfect.
Nice job on the presentation.
No, thank
Thank
you.
you so much for
Appreciate the
your time.
Thank
opportunity.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming out.
And yeah, we're available. You have Nicole's information, and
mhm,
you guys can get in touch with me and my team as well. We'd be happy to answer any, just overall safety, because I know that's a big topic that usually comes up because it's a new technology. So happy to address any
Okay.
questions you guys may have.
thank you so
All right,
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you, you do the same. Thank you so much for your time, putting us on calendar. Have a great evening.
What's that? I don't say anything.
What's
Okay.
that?
I'm up to, what's the agreement, lease agreement with you?
How much are
No.
we getting, Deb?
Excuse me?
How much are we getting to lease that for now?
We haven't even seen the contract.
Oh,
We don't know yet,
all
so.
right.
Just the beginning, right?
Yeah, this was the informative time, and then, like she said, they'll send usually it's a boilerplate amount, especially before they even start building, because they're gonna be doing probably a year or two of research to make sure that the grid can handle them and that kind of thing, so.
And this is by the flats, down by the tar flats.
Yeah, Delaware Starkland, yep,
Perfect.
yeah, that little piece, we have a triangular piece there that belongs to the town.
That encompasses that building, right? That building is ours.
I think it's outside the building. Not sure where that, I
thought
think
that-
NICEAG owns where the NICEAG stuff is. They own that little piece and then,
Put that building out by the road,
oh,
that 20 by
That little
20 building.
yeah.
mhm.
A little steel building, little steel building.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I think that's the town's,
Mhm.
I believe so.
So what are they gonna do, a contract with NICEAG too, obviously, to
Well, they will.
tie it into the
Yeah.
grid, right?
Do you think they're gonna have any issues with APA?
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so because, that's what's probably gonna take the longest is to get their
Permits.
APA permit through, but,
Yeah.
it's clean energy and it's not above 40 feet and, other ridiculous guidelines, so. All right. Is there any public comment before we go any further? Okay, motion to approve the January bills. I'll read them into the record, and please be aware that they are high because we're paying various things. General fund, $129,497.76. That includes the $85,000 final bond payment on the dam, a 30-year bond that we had on the dam. We made the final bond payment this month, so. Parktown B Fund, $3,238. Highway, $70,916.54. Capital, $4,753.23. Line Mountain Lights, 0. Dannemora Fire Protection, $82,801. Line Mountain Fire District, $120,336.71. Line Mountain Sewer, $8,905.02. Dannemora Sewer, $7,500. Line Mountain Water, $3,820.62. Dannemora Water, $146.60. Chateauguay Lake Water Control, $6,070. Ledgers Water District, $1,663.79. Trust and Agency, $4,191.48, for a total of $443,840.75.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to pay the January 2024 monthly expense bills of $443,840.75.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? Roll call, Jim?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Joey?
Yep.
Deb?
Yes. Okay. Policy reviews, old business. I looked through the policies, and there were several that I think were all right, that, because we just did those, the snow and ice control policy, we just did the employee handbook. I didn't see any problems with the social media policy. The fund balance policy we just did. The procurement policy, I didn't really see a problem with that. We just need to hold people to it. And then the mailbox replacement policy, I thought those were all good. The other 4, 5 policies that I gave you guys, the workplace violence one, the only thing that I saw in there, and it was something that we had noted before, is in here, it's always everyone reports to the town supervisor, but there's nothing that says if the town supervisor is a problem, where do you go? And so I want to add in there that if the supervisor is the offending person, then the reports go to the deputy or any other board member. Because there wasn't really something in there if the supervisor was the problem. Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah.
Let's see, ethics, was there anything? I don't think so. Yeah, well, under professional conduct, on the ethics one, I think we need to add number 7, that says, the following are prohibited. There's a list of things, and I should have violent or abusive behavior in the workplace, should also be added there.
Yep.
The dam, there was just a couple of small things. Since we now have the emergency action plan, we need, on number 2, I've got maintain the emergency action plan and review it annually, update it as necessary. And then on number 7, of course, the most current one is 2023, December 2023. So, and this is a relatively new policy that we just did, but we needed to make those changes because we now have the emergency action plan in place. The ORSAN policy, we had left those fees, the fee amounts blank. I have been telling people who are not residents or those who will want to use it for, they have a small business where they're sanding people's driveways, that kind of thing, $20 a ton, self-loaded. And for municipalities, $15 a ton. And And we have in there that if, for everyone but municipalities, that they have to get their loads between May and October when our scale operator's there, so that we can weigh their load. So, does that sound good for everybody?
Mhm. And the public still what, 2? What's the resident?
The residents basically been telling them, you know, because it's self-loaded and, you know, they can't bring a tandem there, but, you know, basically they can load the back of a pickup truck or whatever. As long as they're not in the way of people that are working there, like our town guys or the vendors, the Canadians that are there, make sure that it's safe. And typically they just, you know, we say 2 loads, but, you know, if they're only have a pickup truck and they're shoving it in the back,
Yeah,
whatever they need.
Yeah.
And the drug and alcohol one, didn't really have any changes on that one either. There is an addendum that was on the back that was added, for a specific reason. I don't think it's necessary to have that there. I would suggest that we just delete the addendum.
what's it say?
It lists all the jobs that are, fall under this policy. But it lists the water, wastewater treatment plant, maintenance. I mean, it lists them all out, and that was done for a specific reason but, you know, that's all in the body of this. If you're responsible to do any of those many things that are listed there, I mean, then you're already covered.
Okay.
This was a sandy thing.
Okay.
So I would suggest that we eliminate this back addendum, because it's all within the initial part anyway.
So you're gonna need a motion for that, aren't you?
Yeah,
We'll do
that one we will. And the rest of them, we'll do them up so that we can sign them all at the next meeting.
Okay, do you want a motion for that now to get it removed?
Yes.
So is there like a page number on it that we can refer to?
No, it's just,
So just refer to addendum?
the addendum to the alcohol and drug policy.
Okay, I'll make a motion to discard the last page of the addendum of the drug and alcohol policy.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did anybody have anything else they wanted to do any changes on with policies?
No, I don't. There, actually, when you were going on the harassment piece, was there anyone in there that mentions that the legality of retaliation?
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good.
yeah, retaliation is the last paragraph.
Okay.
And I believe you're the one that wrote this policy.
I was, yeah. Remember it.
All right, good. Next one is the approval of the highway 5-year plan.
Should we,
So
go ahead.
if you look at the, there's also a second page, the agreement for expenditure of highway monies. This is something that the town is supposed to, this is that contract that we're supposed to have with the highway superintendent every year that says where he's spending the money that the highway department has for that year. Obviously not counting all of the personnel and purchasing, or, you know, like leases and that kinds of things. General repairs, I went through the budget, and he's got about 70,000 where that would be used for repairs of like culverts and you know, the money spent on ditching and that kind of thing. Everything that's not paving that they do. And then permanent improvements, what he had put in for paving on his 5-year plan, which is 130,000. Basically, I took all the roads that he measured them out, and put the amount money against it per foot. It works out to about $19 a foot to pave a road. So, anyway, I've got that here for, Mark signed it already, and I've got it here for everyone to sign afterwards. So for his 5 year, then this is supposed to be done every year, and I checked it, and it has not been done since Pete was the highway superintendent, so. Gonna get done now.
We've been complaining about it too. So thank you for doing that.
So his 5 year plan,
Wish list.
when he says Phillips Court, he just means all the roads up there. So that's why on the agreement, you know, it's got Marvin Road, Kaiser Street, Phillips, and then Phillips Court. That's all included in the court. And then Boomhauer for paving. And he's got it down there replacing the skid steer. I've already told him that he did not budget for that. So unless he can come up with the funds on his, and the 70,000, the guys told me that was on a loader that wasn't big enough to do what they needed to do. So it would be more than that anyway, so. But there's the 5 year plan.
Should frame it, first I've seen that too.
Anybody have any questions on that?
No, I just put my input out on the trading these trucks, that's a little bit crazy how he's got that, that's,
Well, in one of them, you can't, I mean, of course, Charlie Boys recommends starting to trade them in after the warranty's out, so that they're still worth a lot, and you keep rolling them over, so you never have a rundown truck. We have one, though, that we use CHIPS money toward, and the state requires that we keep that one for 10 years anyway.
That was the second
So.
one. That was the second one.
Yep. So,
You do the 23.
yeah, that's the one the newest one that we have right now. So,
That's a 10-year now.
that's a 10-year one, so.
and, there's a ditching bucket for that backhoe, right? So we talked about that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So we should be able to do some ditching with that.
should be a lot of ditching done this
Yep.
spring.
They've been told that ditching is a priority this year. And not deep ditches, but wide ditches, like on Sunset.
Oh,
We don't want them to go
No.
4 feet deep because someone goes off the road, now you're in, you know, you're gonna cause a worse accident. You know, they can widen those out because there's a lot of space, particularly in the problem area. It's, you know, it's all woods across the road, so they can make these wide ditches.
Yeah, well, there's actually a little bit of a science to ditching, so hopefully they do it the right way, and just not dig to dig.
Yep.
It's all about pitch and triangulation and everything, so.
You gonna have a laser set up for ditching?
Well, I think Brandon's been talking about it, so we'll see what they.
I'll have to purchase one
Mhm.
if they don't have one.
So the agreement, we need to make a motion to accept the agreement for the expenditures of the highway money. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? Roll call, Jim?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Joey?
Yep.
Deb?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, our surplus property update. We got one bid in yesterday on the truck. We haven't gotten any on the chimney, so we'll rebid that. But,
Is that put up somewhere, so it's not gonna be banged up, the chimney?
yeah, the chimney is in the, what used to be the old wood room, and it's stacked up against the dog cage in there.
Nothing on that, you said?
This is the bid for the truck?
The truck, but nothing on the trim at all?
Nothing on the chimney.
I'm surprised.
We're
I
gonna,
am curious.
we need to advertise it a little wider. I don't think it made it on the webpage and the Facebook page as quickly as we had requested. So, and not that many people read the paper. I mean, we put it in the paper, but So-
Can you do like that marketplace, can you do that?
I don't know if the municipalities could do that.
Jack could do it.
Good.
I'll let him.
You know, I'm surprised they didn't pick that, well, of course, maybe they didn't see it, but that chimney, I'm surprised the Amish didn't pick that up.
They didn't
They probably
No
won't.
means of
They probably don't do
saying-
Facebook.
I'm sure they're on Facebook, but they have a way of communicating internally with their organization, so, I mean, I bet that they found out about it, they'd be gone.
Well, you're gonna be excited about this bid.
You know what I'm saying, that?
No, Thomas Airnax did not bid, and I can't wait to tell them what we got offered. So Ronnie Menor, put in a
From the
bid.
Plank Road?
14,000,
No shit.
so. Anyway, I make a
So-
motion that we accept this bid for 14,000 for the, truck that was turned into a tractor.
I'm sorry.
You sure you wanna say that?
Positive.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So.
You gonna
anyway.
record that call, is there an act for us, or?
Well, I wouldn't even call them, put a bid in, why are you even calling?
We got to call
Just
Well,
let
I
just to let them
know,
know.
I'm saying, there was, they never bid on it, I mean.
Yeah.
And they had all intention to put a bid on it.
There was
Yeah.
smoke,
Mhm.
I didn't wanna lose the truck.
Well, he said they had lost 2 other bids and he wasn't gonna lose this one. That's what he told me yesterday, when he gave it to me,
Really?
so
Honestly, it's probably worth it for
I-
them.
I felt bad, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we'll rebid the chimney pieces and,
Do you want a minimum on them again? Or just say no minimum and see what we get?
well, we don't need to put a minimum, but we'll say that,
All
you know, we can-
options confused.
we can reject
Yeah.
any bids. Because we should get what, I mean, if somebody needs it,
Should get that 2 grand easily for that.
Oh geez, I guess so.
But if
He said,
Zach or
Send
somebody
it to
can
me.
put that on
I'd
marketplace.
like to get word out to
before
somebody
they
on
see
there from the Chattagy area.
Absolutely. I can
Wonderful.
email all of you and then you guys can go from
Cause
there.
I could pass it
I give it
to
to
my
Zach,
boss.
but
He-
it didn't
His
help.
wife actually drives all much people around, so.
oh yeah,
Might be able to get some.
Fine, I'll grab that in a second.
all right. Text my gov update, just, right now, we've only got 23 people signed up for it. Very few from special districts, which are the ones that are the most critical to be on there. So, you know, try to spread the word. We've got it on our webpage, we've got it on our Facebook page. We've, you know, got flyers here and there, but
Everybody's got it in their receipts.
everyone, yeah, we put a little note, so Becky puts it in the receipts when she sends out their receipt for their tax bills, so hopefully we get a few more people on there because it's for their benefit.
Not to interrupt, back up or whatever. What did we, pay for that trailer? Is that
8,000.
8,000? Pretty good.
Does anyone have any other old business? All right. New business. Danmore Water District. As you know, we had another issue there. And we had lowered the rents in that district to $325, I think, from $400. And I think we should probably push it back up. Yeah, it was $400 last year, we lowered it to $325. We might have to, well, we should jump it back up because we just paid the general fund back for the money from last year that they couldn't afford, you know, they didn't have it in their budget. We've just paid that back now. And so they don't really have the money to pay those bills that just came in for that work that was just done. So those are bounced against general fund right now, which that account has to pay us back in the next within this fiscal year. So I'm thinking we need to put that back up to 400.
Any motion for that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a budget amendment.
Is 400 enough?
I hope so.
Do you wanna just go for 400?
I think 400.
All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion to go from the current budget for $325 up to $400 for Dannemore Water District.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Work out last year, the breaks we had down there, right?
We had 2 breaks last, well, one in January, because we had initially had their water rents down low, and then in January, we had a break, and then beginning of February, we had a break, so we jumped it up before the bills went out in April, so.
No issues with the homeowner there and reimbursing that one,
We reimbursed,
the road rooter?
Yep.
No
yeah,
issues
that's
with-
in today's bills, we reimbursed that one and not the old one.
Yeah, you didn't have any, no issues there?
Well, he asked me why, I haven't responded.
But we're still relying on those homeowners to run their water so the water doesn't freeze again.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
Yeah, so we have some work to, we gotta figure out something to do in that brook too.
it's either that brook or have somebody drill across the main road and bring water in from Eggleston Drive.
That'd be a better way to do it.
I'd like to say, we're on that side, you don't get a lot of sun over there either.
No, it's all
Tree
swamp,
line.
swamp and
Water.
there's huge trees growing right on that crevice of that brook line too.
I've got to email into Liz Tedford to have a, keep an eye out for some water,
Improvement grants.
there are some, but the size and, there's specific ones that are for a certain size and whatnot, so. All right, contracts with we have some contracts with the village right now that are way outdated. Our youth contract with them hasn't been updated since, I think, 2018. Our shared services contract with them expired a couple years ago. There's some various little ones that, so I'll be getting with them on that. And just to keep in mind, our contract with DEC for that boat launch, it was a 20-year contract, I think, 30-year, whatever. That's up next March,
Really?
so.
Wow.
I'll give you all a copy of the contract and we can, they should be looking to us to renew, but we want to make sure that we renew on our terms.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
anyway, that's coming up, so I'll get you those. The Channel 57 access road, they had an issue, Kurt Lanning from 57 called